Hello, and welcome to this lightning talk on the symbiosis of information architecture and AI. Here at GDS, we're experiencing firsthand the close connection between the two disciplines and the mutual benefits this brings. So today we're sharing our reflections on how IA enables AI and vice versa. Quick intros, I'm Sally Creasey. I've been working in information architecture for 20 years across the public, private and charity sectors, and I'm a senior IA here at GDS.
Thank you. I'm Rich. I've been in data science and AI for about 10 years, working in various roles across private and public sectors. So thank you for having me in this IA space today. The latter half of my career is focused on applying AI to textual data and finding process efficiencies to improve user experience. I'm a senior data scientist on the gov.uk AI team. So what's happening right now in AI feels like an industrial revolution-sized change in the way we'll work. As a data scientist, I've worked with machine learning models, traditional natural language processing techniques, and language modeling in general for years. But with the rapid advancement in capability of the last few years in particular, there's a greater expectation for AI to play a key role in the solutions that we develop. And with it comes great opportunity.
And I believe that IAs are well placed to get stuck into this opportunity. Having skills in knowledge management, information design, stakeholder engagement and governance has never been so important.
For us, information architecture and AI are complementary. AI enables us to do things we couldn't previously do, but it's only as good as the data we give it, garbage in, garbage out. Every AI talk has to have that phrase in it, by the way. Better IA and content structure could enable us to get more value from our applications of AI and improve outcomes for our users and organizations. AI can also support our designers and IAs.
So how can IA enable AI? Knew I would do that. IAs help give AI contextual awareness by deriving information structure and relationships. We do this by developing content models, taxonomies, and ontologies. Ontologies provide the structure for knowledge graphs, which enhance the performance of LLM systems through retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. RAG allows LLMs to provide more accurate responses to user queries by retrieving up-to-date information from a knowledge store. Take this very simple example of building out an ontology. As IAs, we identify the objects in the knowledge domain. We model and we describe the relationships between those objects, defining the consistent language to use across the system. We design the attributes that make up the objects, and this becomes the semantic metadata that's so relevant for machine learning. If we then add in real data from our organization, we create domain-specific knowledge graphs for RAG. Knowledge graphs support diverse and complex queries as the relationships between the nodes are captured and described. There are so many great talks this evening on knowledge graphs, so we're not going to major on this. I'm just going to move on to the next point. So IAs also design rich semantic metadata to enable content personalization and recommendation. Currently, we're exploring how we can use GovUK content more flexibly by enabling content creation in more granular blocks and adding more semantically rich metadata to our content. To illustrate the value, imagine knowing that a piece of driving content, whether at a section, subsection, or fact level, is about a specific vehicle type or for a specific driver type. Couple that with user data, given with user consent, and we can start serving relevant content to our users, rather than providing these large guides that cover multiple scenarios. If we then add in date, time, and change note metadata to our content blocks, we can highlight to users when something important changes and where, enriching the user experience. Information architects work with data scientists to create labeled data sets for AI and RAG. IAs and content professionals are also well placed to evaluate and iterate the outputs of AI with our domain knowledge and user-centered design mindset. So we recently helped data scientists to optimize the RAG process using a labeled document type data set. GovUK document type metadata is categorical, and it can take one of 185 values, for example, guide, form, correspondence. We used our knowledge of document types to upweight or downweight the content items retrieved by GovUK Chat, which is an AI chat system. This helped provide users with the most relevant information in GovUK Chat's response. IAs and content professionals also add value to AI chat systems by developing conversational flows and families of user intent with the data scientists. This enables a workflow called routing, where we train AI to recognize different types of user intent to trigger a relevant downstream action. This could be asking a follow-up question if the original query is unclear, or calling the LLM to generate response for a genuine intent, or providing a pre-written response for certain intents. So as you can see, there are many ways that information architecture can help to optimize AI.
So turning things around, how can AI optimize information architecture? And before I forget, we have an inside gov.uk blog post on gov.uk chat, as Sally mentioned. So if you'd like to check that out, give it a Google. So AI is useful for identifying and describing patterns in large data sets, like big content estates, right through to, say, user research notes. Digital organizations like gov.uk often have vast sources of unstructured text data that can be hard to analyze at scale. For example, gov.uk gathers large amounts of user feedback on our content. AI can be useful for content summarization here to reduce the time for users to absorb information. See this Amazon reviews example, which I'm sure we're all familiar with, where AI has summarized the key positives and negatives from a large corpus of reviews. Approaches like this can help content designers and service owners to derive insights and improve the user experience. AI can also help IAs to fast-track named entity recognition. So this technique is really valuable for IAs identifying objects for content modeling and for enriching metadata to achieve outcomes like improved SEO and content personalization. Deep learning-based named entity recognition uses neural networks to identify the semantic and syntactic relationships between words and phrases in content. AI categorizes entities in text into entity types. For example, organization, person, or location. This helps IAs to identify the building blocks for knowledge organization systems. AI can help IAs and other digital experts by enabling experimentation with synthetic data, and even by simulating users and scenarios to research with, where data are partial or lacking. This can be useful for testing ideas and testing proofs of concept. Take this example. I think this is a great example. I find this very exciting, but I'm a massive nerd. So AI agents are the talk of the town right now. So agents are systems where large language models dynamically direct their own processes and tool usage, maintaining control over how they accomplish tasks. An interesting application of agents in the synthetic data space is to use them to simulate users. We don't even need real users anymore. Tools like Microsoft's TinyTroop can create a simulated village of users, which could, in theory, be used for user research to test ideas with. Lastly, we can use AI for research to generate a range of ideas for human subject matter experts to then build upon. The most recent advancements in reasoning models allow for deeper research to be conducted with AI assistance, enabling a higher quality conversation approach to ideation with AI. For example, this could be applied by IAs to innovate on navigation curation.
So with AI for navigation curation, we experimented with a range of language models and prompts, seeing how LLMs organize and label the information. Information architects can then review the accuracy of the AI outputs, combining it with our domain knowledge and understanding of user needs with AI ideas to create a final version. So what does the future look like for IAs in our opinions? Will we just become humans in the loop? I'm an optimist. I don't think so. Fingers crossed here. AI represents a huge opportunity for IAs and people of any discipline who upskill themselves in machine learning. I feel really inspired to get to work with my data scientist colleagues every day, and it's got my mind worrying about new ways to do things. So in summary, we believe the evolution of IA will see information architects organizing and connecting content and metadata in non-hierarchical ways to enable dynamic user-driven experiences, continuing to connect up UCD content and data thinking with end user and stakeholder needs, and helping to design governance, guardrails and process that enable the responsible use of AI and organizational information. So the challenges of change actually represent excellent opportunities to grow and to innovate. Thanks very much.
Two minutes, let's have a look. Right, let's have a show of hands. 1, 2, or 3. Number 1? Number 2? Okay, number 3? Oh, I think number 3 wins. So how reliable is AI's help in synthesizing user insights where we don't even need users in user-centered IA practice that needs real users in the first place? Wow. Yeah. That's a really tricky one. In general, I think the proliferation of synthetic data is quite dangerous. This might not address this question in particular, but I think it's definitely pertinent. We see large language models even being augmented and trained on synthetic data, right? Now there's a lot of theory in the sort of information space that will degrade model performance and that real data is, needed to provide novelty and additional information to augment these models' performance, which I think is true. But particularly working in the public sector and working for government, real data can be hard to procure, and we should observe a policy of least access, right? So using synthetic data and experimenting with synthetic data is always going to be valuable for innovation. And that applies to, structured content and metadata as well. Proving concepts with synthetic data is, a really valuable approach in a limited space.
Yeah. Nozza Bina, we did a course with him, and he described AI as like 1,000, 10,000 interns that can help you get the job done. But ultimately, it's the human in the room that is going to need to lead on these things. And also, we cannot rely on synthetic data alone, and we don't here. We have user research, and it's the heart of everything we do. So that will never, ever be replaced, in my opinion. Do you want another question? Cool. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.